Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 135 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. There is no escaping those feelings of self-doubt. No matter how much work you've done, how much of an expert you are in your field, or how much you want to just not care, there's a part of you that feels self-doubt, and it's not all the time, but enough of the time that you wonder if it will ever go away. We want to ensure that we don't let self-doubt get in the way of achieving our goals, but what happens when those feelings do come up? So today's podcast is on challenging those feelings of self-doubt. So self-doubt comes with feelings of uncertainty about yourself, the task at hand, your worth, or even how successful you will be at achieving your desires. And when it's left unchecked, it is debilitating. And often those feelings of uncertainty will drive your brain to safety. This often looks like staying with the status quo or achieving things just to feel safe. So it is a protective mechanism for us. And when we do things just to feel safe, we find ourselves in various scenarios. So for example, if an opportunity presents itself, like a job or a thing that someone is asking you to do, or spending time in a certain way, or spending your money or your energy in a certain way. And if you feel self-doubt, you would decide not to put yourself out there because maybe you're not worthy in terms of the career or the business aspect of your life, if that's what it's around, or whatever aspect of your life that opportunity represents. But you could also decide to go for it because you feel you're not worthy. So you do this to prove you're worthy. So notice the subtleties here. It's not about what you do. Go for it, don't go for it. It's why you do it. And when you don't challenge your feelings of self-doubt, you will make decisions based on fear. Fear of staying where you are, fear of not being enough. And I love how nuanced this is because it shows us that self-doubt and fear are not necessarily terrible things. A healthy amount of self-doubt and fear keeps us from rushing into oncoming traffic. It will also help you make better decisions. If you have a fear of staying where you are, it might be time for you to move on. If you have a fear of staying where you are, it also might be okay for you to stay. The real question is what happens when you make a decision based on self-doubt as something negative instead of a question to be answered. So your growth, as you challenge those feelings of self-doubt, is going to come from seeing that fear and self-doubt aren't the problem. So the first thing I want to talk about is just seeing self-doubt as neutral. The problem is when we only see fear and we only see self-doubt. If you were in neutral territory, you would see both sides of the equation. So when I work with my clients, we challenge feelings of self-doubt. This doesn't mean we turn a blind eye to the worst case scenario of not finding another job or being disappointed when our days or our numbers don't turn out the way we expect. We let those feelings of self-doubt show us the way forward. We answer the questions that come up. How will you live off of that income? How do you plan to make the change? What will you say if they ask you that question? How will you say what you really mean? So all of these things are okay to ask yourself. So what if the self-doubt was actually serving you? I remember when I had a feeling of self-doubt around the work I was doing. And it was a signal that something wasn't quite right if I was constantly working so hard, trying to improve, and feeling such significant self-doubt. What was going on? What was happening? It was inconsistent with almost all the experiences I had in my life where my efforts did matter. And that self-doubt showed me that I was in an environment where fear was used to drive people, and it wasn't healthy. People weren't set up for success. So that self-doubt was not coming just from myself. It was coming from those around me as well. And if you are a naturally empathetic person, you will likely feel other self-doubt more than most people. So just be aware, if this is you, that there may be other people's energy that you're taking in, and it's not healthy for you to make self-doubt mean more than it is. So someone questioning you may just be a question you need to ask yourself to answer. Someone with a hot reaction is someone who feels high emotion. That is them, not you. And this allows you then to just come back to a place of neutrality. And then from neutral, we can then decide what we want to do without fear hijacking our minds. So the second thing to do when you have some feelings of self-doubt come up is to give yourself distance. When you see self-doubt as highly personal, it's hard for you to challenge yourself to see an alternative or to see it as neutral, as we just discussed. So this is why you need to give yourself some distance. So our ability to witness ourselves from a more super conscious view allows us to prioritize. It allows us to focus. Self-doubt as a story or a worry about something that may never happen can often spiral into anxiety and feeling stuck when we leave it unchecked. So self-doubt as a neutral signal that is natural for someone going through what you're going through is different. It's a problem that you can actually solve. So when you imagine yourself as a third party, you come back to healthy self-doubt. You can then see that you can still move forward even if there is some risk. You can identify whether that time, money, or energy you're investing will still have a payback. You know what is worth it to you and what is not. You know if there's something to be done or not about what's on your mind. And that knowing actually combats the uncertainty. So studies have shown that when you are able to increase your beliefs through things that you can change, like your effort or your confidence in your abilities, self-doubt decreases. Personal agency increases. You see that the situation is not so heavily weighted towards the negative. And perhaps there's also just as much, if not more, that's right about a situation than is wrong. So giving yourself some distance is like treating yourself like someone you love and care about. And when you treat yourself compassionately, hopefully that's what you do with people you love and care about, you will see that there's so much more intuitive knowledge that comes through. You will make faster and more accurate decisions. Your predictions will be more accurate. There will be a lot less rumination and more progress. And this is why coaching helps. Your coach is that third party that is able to witness what you've experienced as just another thought, a natural concern, something to be handled with the appropriate amount of consideration. Paying attention to true cues of concern, such as your health and your mental state in a situation, is often even more important than self-doubt. And why is that? Because you will always have self-doubt, but you can still feel self-doubt along with a healthy sense of optimism and a really energized state of well-being. This duality of feeling self-doubt along with being really healthy in many aspects of your life means that all people can feel uncertain even when they have positive approaches to life. And when you know this, it means that you know that you're human. You start to accept it. And so the third thing that you want to start moving into then is reframing that self-doubt. And one of the most powerful things I help my clients do is to reframe their self-doubt. We have a variety of ways that this occurs. But the outcome is that they see self-doubt as normal and not a big problem. It isn't easy to do this, but it is a muscle we train ourselves to use. New ways of seeing things, like how do I see self-doubt differently? How do I actually believe this is going to happen? How do I not spiral? All of this is a new way of being, a new way of seeing things. And it comes with practice, and it comes with time to practice. Many times we think we should be over self-doubt by now, whether it's because of our age or because we don't think others have it like we do. We assume erroneously that we're the only ones wondering if we're doing the right thing with our kids, or if we're going to lose our job because someone's going to find out that we're not as smart as they thought we were. It sounds irrational for sure, but there are many times when this feels completely rational and it feels completely true to you. And what has helped me personally was to start seeing self-doubt as just a part of the journey, not a sign that something has gone wrong. I can feel that familiar feeling of fear creep in when self-doubt takes over. But like the muscle analogy, I go back to the tools and the practices I use to challenge those feelings. Imagine you go to a gym, and instead of actually lifting a weight or getting on a machine to do a run, you just walked away. And so what I'm asking you to do is lift the weight, get on the machine and do the run instead of walking away from the gym entirely. And so you have tools. There will be many tools that I know of that can be used to actually address self-doubt. And that's what I've done to actually work with it. And instead of a weakness, then self-doubt becomes a superpower. It is the thing that lets me see the possible alternatives and choose the best course of action. It becomes a strategy, and it is a natural state of things. And if I am truly in my most vulnerable open space, it allows the self-doubt to come in, to serve me and show me where I still have some work to do. We all have edges that we are sharpening or we're softening, and self-doubt shows us those edges. And often the things we have the most talent and strengths in are also where we feel self-doubt. There are also places where over time, self-doubt has almost disappeared. Both have been and can be true. This shows us that even when you're so hesitant, feeling the doubt and worried that you're not making the right decision, it doesn't mean that it's true. Through things like meditation or breath work or thought work or coaching or energy work or taking action on what we know, there are a myriad of ways to challenge those feelings of self-doubt. It is all part of the process to evolve and grow. So don't fear the self-doubt, even when it's coming, as it normally does, from situations that are present in your life. The economy, the layoffs, the competition you see around you, the no's that you might hear. They are just one side of the equation, and there's always the opposite as well. So it is part of our human experience. And for the first time, you might be allowing yourself to truly feel all your feelings. And this means letting all things come in, including self-doubt. But the difference also is that now you will be more equipped to handle it. You're able to take some of the tools that I've shared, if you're a coaching client of mine, and you make friends with something that once felt really scary. And self-doubt means that you're heading into the unknown. And a new path forward will often challenge us to overcome self-doubt again and again and again until we realize that we've gone so far down this path and we're so used to dealing with self-doubt that it's not as scary. We're used to seeing those voices of uncertainty. Instead of running away or ignoring them, we let them exist and then we let them leave when they're ready. And it is such a transformative experience to literally see something you were once scared of is just not a huge deal anymore. I think many people think, well, you can't overcome these things. And that is not true. It is possible. I've seen it time and time again. And I've experienced it myself. And when this happens, you will actually create so much space for something new to come through. Now there's sometimes this feeling, I know this is sounding weird, but it's like when I started taking cold showers, I really didn't like cold water. And that was the whole point of taking cold showers. I think some people do it because they want the brown fat to disappear. They want to shock their nervous system. I did it because of a very practical reason, which was that I didn't want to have that feeling of like tiptoeing into the water and like not getting into, the water in the bay or in places that I would go, or maybe even a colder pool. I just didn't want to lose out and not enjoy the experience because I was just in that feeling of trying to avoid all of this cold. And so when I did the cold water showers, it was really for that reason. And it got to the point where it felt weirdly good. And I would have never thought that to be the case. Honestly, for 99.9% of the time that I was doing it, I was just like, I don't like it, but I do what I tell myself to do anyways, right? When I say go, we go. And that's what it also trained me to do, is to realize that when I make decisions from a prefrontal cortex, from a place of executive functioning, being calm and neutral, then I just have to execute. I don't question my plan. The feeling of, it's a little uncomfortable or the self-doubt is just normal. And I got used to it so much because I was purposely putting myself into things that I didn't really love. And so I want to acknowledge that there's so much out there that can cause pain. So much. And I'm not trying to have you guys run towards cold showers or run towards the things that cause you so much pain, but they are inevitably part of our life. They will be there whether you want them to be or not. And what I'm encouraging you to do is discover a way to manage that so they don't become time wasters, energy sucks, things that just leave you feeling, I wish I would enjoy my life more if I could just take away some of these ways of thinking, take away some of the habits that I have. And self-doubt, as one of those discomforting feelings, often will come up. And so, of course, I'm just sharing the cold shower thing again because it's not like you need to do a cold shower. I don't even need to do it all the time now because I've gotten to the point where it's fine. So this is what it's all about. Not running away from the things that are a little bit scary, not because we want to run towards pain, but on the other side is freedom. It's like the idea that you can be free to feel that you're not constricted by food anymore. And that's possible too, to feel that you know exactly what to do to come back to a healthy place in your body and your mind. These are real things. To know that you can make money, lots, and more than enough, on demand. All of these things are not at no cost. You will have self-doubt in the way. And so the ability to create that space for something new to come through then becomes exciting. And this is what I'm selling you guys on. I'm selling you guys on loving self-doubt instead of hating it, or at the very minimum, seeing it as neutral. And all of that energy that you have been utilizing, worrying and ruminating, can now be used to decrease that gap between what you know to do and what you actually do. And it is so fun when this transformation happens. And the coaching work I do with my clients will help fill the void with healthier and healthier ways of thinking. And it gets to a point where I have clients that truly now see problems not as problems. When I see the transformation happen within a person, and I can usually tell when the scale's about to tip, and all of a sudden they get over that hump and suddenly they realize that they're now that person that they never thought they could be. And it didn't come from a place where they beat themselves up. It didn't come from a place where their life was so easy now. But there's a deep sense of relief that comes from knowing that you can do these things and feel better, that there is something you can actually do about all that self-doubt that you feel. And they now have so much more energy to live their lives, and then to take that energy and use it for things that are actually really important. So you won't ever eliminate the self-doubt, but you can eliminate the suffering that comes from it, the extra energy that you apply to it. You'll then see how much closer you are to closing that gap between what we know to be true about who we are and then who we actually are. So this, my friends, is the promise, and it is available to you too. So if you're feeling the self-doubt, it's okay. You got this. All right. So if you love these topics, you will love coaching, getting this in your brain on your specific topic. There's nothing that feels better than feeling that relief that comes from the weight that will come off your chest when you are able to actually address the things that are most important to you right now. So you can reach out to mayemson.com/contact, www.mayemson.com/contact, to learn more about how you can be one of the handful of clients that I work with to go deep and transform your life from the inside out. And right now we have a retreat coming up in Sedona in February. The last one I did was last February, and it was this amazing feeling afterwards of such connection, of completeness. People didn't know each other. Some people did a little bit virtually beforehand, but there's just something really special and magical that happens. And when we are able to create in a circle of seekers who are all looking for impact and looking for more depth and purpose in their life as well, and that looks very different for every person, you get re-inspired. Your energy increases again. You are recommitted to the things that you want in your life, and that energy is real. And that's the energy you need to actually keep moving through when you feel self-doubt as well. So I'm so excited to be doing this again. I've been holding back on it because there's just been a lot going on, but I am thrilled to be able to open up the next year with a beautiful, intimate retreat. And so this one will be a strategic planning retreat done the Spiritual Achiever way. So imagine the best of strategic planning coupled with a lot of intuition, meditation, and deep energetic work. And so I invite you to join us, and we are going to get the work done. We are going to sharpen the clarity, the purpose, the path forward. You need the time and the space, and this is what we are giving you. Then we spend the next months executing and refining that plan together through weekly coaching, one-on-one and group. You are going to have all the support you need to remove the obstacles and continue to hone that blade. So whether it is your career, your relationships, or your health, we tackle it all. So reach out to www.mayemson.com/contact today. That's it for this week, my friends. Have an amazing one, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.